Hi guys, this is the 5th grade keyboard players purple belt writing notation tutorial. So we had some new difficult things going on here, okay? And the first thing that is new for us, oh, I better draw my treble clef in time signature. That's probably pretty old hat by now. And then the first new thing we had was a whole note. We did not have any new pitches, so we're still using do, re, mi, lo, so, and lo, la, or C, D, E, low A, and low G. So we don't really need to talk about any of that. If you have questions about that, you might want to go back to green or orange or yellow belt and watch those tutorials again, or even white if you're really still stuck on do, re, mi. And so now I want to work on the whole notes. So whole notes are the ones that you hold down for 4, and they're actually the easiest to draw, but people tend to make the most mistakes because they somehow want to make it more complicated than it really is. So all you have to do when you're drawing a whole note is pick the pitch you want. I always like to start on do, as you know, that's correct composing, and you draw a circle. And it is just that easy. Now, here's what you want to avoid. People sometimes think that they need to draw their whole notes, and those whole notes need to be so much bigger than the other notes because they take up so much more space. And they will do things like this. And then their next note is that size. Okay, and we don't want to see that. We want all your circles to be about the same size. Am I going to go through with a ruler and measure them? No. But if I can see that like one note is giant and the next one is tiny, I am going to have you fix that. So we want to make sure that our notes are just about the same size. Another thing people have a tendency to do is when you see a whole note written in music, a lot of times it almost looks like colored in on the sides a little bit, filled in, all pretty. And I don't want you to do that. That is like if you print on a piece of paper, if you are writing using handwriting, it looks different than when you type words on a computer. Like if I were to type my name on a computer, Mrs. Kennard, it would look, the letters would look a little bit different than if I were to handwrite them out. So for example, like on, let's just say I was using this is an example. If you look at that font, 5th grade keyboard purple, my letters are not going to look exactly like that. I'm not going to put little extra things on there. And so that's similar to what we're talking about with music notes. When you see those notes that look extra fancy and have like these little colored in sections, that's almost like a font on a computer. So we don't write the way a computer types. We write in the way that is easier for us to write. So when you are writing, I do not want you to try to make yours look like a computer generated whole note. Just a plain circle. So that gets 4 beats. So that's easy since my time signature is 4/4. I have to have 4 beats. I draw a bar line. Hey, that was the whole measure. Okay, I'm going to draw another one just for good measure. I think this time I'll do a mi. Okay, so when you're practicing drawing your whole notes, that's what you need to do. Now the hard part, syncopation. So syncopation is very difficult to play. It's also kind of difficult to write out. And remember, syncopation is the part, the way we learned the 2/8 notes split in half by a quarter note, and it goes dut-dut-dut. Almost like you're saying strawberry, 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 or whatever. Okay, any 3-syllable flute will work, or fruit will work. If you like blueberries better, raspberries, I don't care, whatever. Blackberry. Okay, so when I'm doing that, I actually am going to have 3 different notes: an 1/8 note, a quarter note, and another single 1/8 note. So first we need to know how to draw single 1/8 notes. I think I'm going to practice my low laws a little bit. So I'm going to start with a low la And that needs to be, for my syncopation, that needs to be an eighth note. So what I did is I made it like that, and I went up, but instead of drawing a long line that connects them, like normally when we have eighth notes, right, we have two of these next to each other. Let me pretend like the next one was a low so. Normally we have two of these next to each other and we connect them with a line. That's what our normal eighth notes look like. But I have a problem right now. When I do that, that means this one and this one are both eighth notes. Well, in syncopation, it's not that way. Only this one is the eighth note. This one is a quarter note. So what I have to do, I can't have anything connected to the second one because that's not an eighth note. So what I actually do is I break this line off, and there you go. That's an eighth note. So I usually like to actually, the flag, once it's broken, nothing's holding it up, so that little flag actually hangs down a little bit. Okay, so it kind of got broken off, and now it's sitting, it's hanging down because it's like dangling, like you had something that was attached together, and now it broke off, so it goes, and that's kind of what the little flag did. It doesn't have anything to hold on to, so now it just hangs down. So we have an eighth note, a quarter note, and that only goes strawberry. So I need the re part, the third part of that. So that's another eighth note because it's another quick one. So I'm going to do another low la just because I like to practice that. And again, up, and it doesn't have anything to hang on to. I'm not putting another eighth note next to it, so I'm going to let it hang down again. It doesn't have anything to hold on to. So now I have that strawberry, and I have half plus 1 plus another half. That only equals 2 beats, so I need 2 more beats. So I am going to draw in a half note to end this. Now, I have 2 choices, and this is actually not written on your paper, and you'll notice that it, on this purple sheet, it no longer says end with a double bar line. Does that mean you're allowed to just end it? No. It actually means that now you have a choice. So I drew in a double bar line. I know it's kind of squeezed in there, sorry about that. But you have 2 choices for your ending now. You can do a double bar line, or you can do a repeat sign at the end. And a repeat sign's pretty easy to do. You make your double bar line, and then on the side of it, you put 2 dots. And that just, like we said in the other tutorial, that means that when you get to the end, it bounces you back. Now, if you just leave it, let me see if I can squeeze this stuff a little bit. I'm going to change this syncopation here so I have a little more room and you can see what I'm talking about. I'll just add in another whole note. All right, let's say I have my double bar line, and the repeat sign parts should go in the center. Okay, we don't want them way up here. We want those bouncies in the center. So now this right here bounces me all the way back to the beginning. Now let's say I didn't want to go back to the beginning. Let's say I only wanted to go back to here. So what I need to do is make something called an open repeat sign, which means I actually stick a double bar line in there, but now I put the bouncy balls on the other side of it. So I if I was going to play this, I would start here, play that, play that. These would little dots would bounce me back, and these dots would catch me and push me forward again. Okay? If these weren't here, this would just bounce me back all the way to the beginning because there's nothing to catch me. Okay, hope you do well on your purple sheet. Good luck.